Hello everyone. How are you guys all doing today? I can see here now my phone's not wanting to load the view on my end, so hopefully it'll get going here. It's telling me I need an update at the last minute. But however, if you are here, say hello and I will know that you're there to watch, and I'll take a look for your comments here on my end. I'm just going to shuffle this a tad to change the view just a little bit so that those of you who would like the host code can see it. And hopefully that's not making you all too dizzy. I am Alana Wharf, Sleepless Stamper. I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada, and I am going to create a card here for you guys today. So I've brought in a few other samples that feature the same set that I am going to use. I captioned this one Some Old, Some New. So it's not technically old, it's just already existing product. And it features, this is the card, I should backtrack a second. With my stamp club this last month, we used the Happy Little Things bundle. It is an online exclusive. It's a really cute greeting set. And this is it here. So you get a really nice outline image and then the filler image and then a bunch of little greetings to go with. So we featured that bundle and did these cards here. And I did use some existing DSP. So I've used the Delightfully Eclectic DSP from the annual catalog, and we have been using that throughout Stamp Club this year. I showed you guys, I think, some cards yesterday with the Encircled in Nature bundle that features this DSP as well. Not this pattern, but another pattern from the Delightfully Eclectic. And so that's the old. I've used it both with this pattern here and this pattern here. And then we used another online exclusive set of DSP with the greeting set. And then we used the greeting set to create our background with this card here. So with this one, I used some existing product and then some upcoming product. I showed you guys this DSP yesterday and decided to go ahead and use that. I just love these patterns. And I love this die. I was telling you guys about that one yesterday as well. So I thought I would go ahead and design with those for you for today. So what I will do is continue on with this Some Old, Some New series for my lives as many days as I can between now and when we go away. My goal is to come live for you guys every day with some old, some new, and I'll show you a variation of something retiring and a variation of something upcoming is my plan for you guys. So I'm just trying to get the comments to load on my end. Sorry for my distraction here. I'm hoping to be able to follow along with you guys. All right. Let me know if it is working at your end, if you are there. And then I will get creating in just a moment for you. So I told you guys yesterday that I would have the In Color Club registration form to post for you guys. I'm just about done. I'm just working on the graphics that go with it because there is some behind the scenes work to do whenever we release these registration forms. So I want to get that finished up. I was taking the photos this morning and just finishing getting them edited so I can release that to you guys. But first, I wanted to show you on camera the colors that go with it. So I actually need to grab, hi Ramona, it's working good, perfect. Okay, so I just have to grab the sample of this one. I forgot it with my photo stuff, one sec. I had all the in colors in here ready to go and had stolen this one for the photo. So I ended up having to, yesterday I was hopeful I could keep it at $67.50, which was the same cost as last year. I just had to bump it up by $1 to properly cover the costs. So this is the sampling of the in color. So with this one, I've used some fibers from the ribbon, the DSP, the cardstock, the blends, and the gems here. At this time when I made these, we did not yet have the ink pads. I knew they would be coming in my artisan box, so I held off on ordering the ink pads. But I'll have more samples coming with the ink pads as well. So that is the Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink. Ramona, you would have had Pretty in Pink from when it existed years ago. Does that look true to Pretty in Pink for you? I think it does. I haven't done a side-by-side comparison yet, but I'm sure that time will come. This is Peach Pie. This one is Shy Shamrock. Hi, Karen. And then this one is Summer Splash. I always get confused on the color of this one because it is so similar to Coastal Cabana, though may as well real quick. Sorry, my voice is disappearing for a sec. We'll do a quick comparison to Coastal Cabana. So you can see there is a little bit, there's definitely difference. They wouldn't bring us two of the exact same color, but definitely coordinating. So that is the In Colors. I will release that link this afternoon if anyone wants to register for the In Color Club. It will be $68.50 a month, and in that form, as well as on my page, you'll see what you will get each month. The picture just does not include the refill because that's not accessible to us just yet, but that will be included. Okay, so I'll do a quick little, hi Linda, how are you? I'm going to just, hey Ashley, I'm going to just show you guys the cards we made in Stamp Club this month, and then I'm going to demo this one for you. I did have these at our Share What You Love event that was run by Genevieve on the weekend, so I had used Happy Little Things with this one. This was the card, we made these two in Stamp Club, and then this is the one I made them as a thank you. So with this one here, we stamped the rainbow of the outline of Celebrate. If they wanted to make it more bold, they could have filled it in, but we did that, and then we used the coordinating dies. Now, are they in my little package? One is, so it's this little greeting die, and then in my kit I have the other one here, and then this one here, so they have this nice little stitch detail on the ends. So those are the two dies that come with the bundle, and then this is the stamp set, and that's an online exclusive. So that's a really good set to have. And then we made this one together. I love this little You Are Incredible from that stamp set. And then this was the one I made for them. So this is the one I'm going to make for you guys today, just the portrait orientation and with new product. So this is the old or current, and then this is the new, and I'm going to make this one. If you guys were here last night, do you remember seeing this paper? That's the paper that was really wild. That, oh gosh, we tidied up. Here it is. That was this paper that I showed you guys last night, the upcoming Full of Life. I was telling you all last night how I really love the back of these patterns. I don't mind some of these sunburst ones, but some of the fronts are a little bit much for me, but I love the backs. So when I was deciding last night what I would make for you guys today, sorry for the quick flip there. Me too, Ashley. It is gorgeous. The backs do it for me. I'm so glad that this was a gift for my prize patrol at Onstage and that they were able to include it. Danny, I don't know if she's here today, but she was able to gather all my goodies and send them to me, and that was in there. So I don't think it was on pre-order, so I'm glad that I got that one. So we'll make this card. All right, so I'm going to gather up all my supplies and show you guys what I have. I'll actually pull back in the full DSP so that you can see the one that I used. Let me just see what the front looks like. That's the easier way to find that one. Some of those watercolor or alcohol. There we go. That's the one that I used. One of my favorites. What do you guys think of this one? So you can see here, that's the paper I used. I should turn it the other way. So I just cut this at 5.5. There's so much more pink here that I took the 1/2 inch off this side, and then I rotated it and I cut at 3 inches. So you can get 2 cards out of this one. I purposely chose to cut it at 3 instead of going wider like this and doing a landscape card so that I could get 2 cards worth out of that one DSP. I could have kept it the same orientation, but I was like, no, this paper's so pretty. Hey, Michelle. I wanted, and Mary, and Ryan's watching too. So I really wanted to be able to get 2 out of this one. So that was my reasoning for rotating it, going with the other orientation and cutting it at 3 inches. Plus, it's always good to be able to show you guys both orientations. I can't always do that, but with these ones, it happened to work. So I am going to create this. This is the die cut that I was raving about last night. I haven't popped out all of the negative spaces just yet, but this one is from the Thoughtful Journey suite. So I wanted to, this is the Thoughtful Wishes dies. We haven't cleaned that fully out yet, but this is the one I was telling you guys last night how much I love this one. So I decided that it would be really nice to just create the focal point of this card. I always love a nice detailed die just cut in black. I think it's I don't know, makes a good statement. So that's what I went with this one here. Hi, Monica. So I'll just pop out those negative spaces. While I do this, tell me, is this one on your wish list? And is that DSP on your wish list? And was it before you saw all the back sides? Let me know. This is the other die from the Happy Little Things. So I'll just show you guys that. You can see the little detail there. Those will be a staple. I hope they don't sell out anytime soon. Then I have that coordinating black little banner from Happy Little Things. I've got a couple of scraps just in case I don't do so hot with my stamping. This is just a piece of, I'd started off with 4 by 5 1/4 white, and I had textured it with the, I call it crosshatch from the 3D Basics online embossing folders. And I'm going to just cut a 1/2 inch strip to use here for you guys. So I'll do some cutting of that. And then this is the black that is going to go with this one. It looks like I need to trim this one down just a little bit, and I still need to cut the 1/2 inch off the top. And then I have a thick white card base that is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So I'll move that aside. I'll get all of the elements ready, and then I'll show you guys how I did this greeting. So the DSP was on my wish list. Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad that some people can see it right away. We all have different tastes, right? But the backside definitely did it for me. I love it. Okay, so this here, I am going to show you guys what I started off with. I originally did my greeting by coloring the letters. And then it just wasn't totally selling it for me. So I realized, well, why don't I mimic the paper? So that was what I ended up doing here, and I'll show you guys how I did that technique there to get the 3-toned Celebrate. Hopefully you guys like that one versus the other, but you could always do either one. If this isn't something you're up for, I kept this so that you guys could see how that looked there. All right, so we'll get all of these ready. I apologize, I have to bring this big clunky cutter in here to trim down the DSP. My small cutter does not cut the 5 1/2. So again, because there's not a lot of the green at the bottom, I chose to take the 1/2 inch off the top, but you can do whatever is your preference. So I'm taking a 1/2 inch off the top, and now I've got a 3 by 5 1/2 piece of DSP. This one is slightly too wide, so I'm going to take this down from 3 1/4 by 5 1/2 to 3 1/8. If you prefer, before I cut that, I'm going to just show you, if you prefer more matting, you could always leave it. I just sometimes prefer just a little bit of matting. So with this one, I'm going to cut a little bit off, and there is no hard and fast rule. Sometimes I have a 1/8 of an inch reveal. Sometimes I stick to just an 1/8 or a 1/16. So we have those pieces there ready. We have the strip. Now I also need to cut this little piece down. I may as well just use this cutter, it's handy. So with this here, again, it is 5 1/4 wide. I just did the full 4 by 5 1/4 initially. I cut the 2 1/2 inch pieces off of there for this, and now I can keep using this for other projects when I need just a little bit of detail. Hey Tandra, how are you? So I've got these 2 1/2 inch pieces ready to go now. Sometimes I do all these pieces ahead of time, but sometimes I feel like I should show you guys how I get to the end result. So today that's what I did for you. So we've got all of these pieces ready to go. We have the 2 little borders. They do not run the full width of the card. They're just a little piece tucked underneath. And as I explained to my Stamp Club members when I made this card for them, I purposely did that so that it didn't run the whole way behind there. Not just to conserve paper, that wasn't my main goal, but if I had run it behind there, then this piece here wouldn't sit nicely right against the fold, and I wanted it to sit nicely against the fold because you'd really see that part. So that was my biggest reason for doing that. Okay, so I am going to stamp the main greeting here for you guys. So I've got a couple scraps just in case I goof, and I am going to put my, so I was telling you guys yesterday, I like to just place my stamp down first, face down, rather than trying to place it on here and make sure it stays straight. Like you can see, that's pretty pliable. It's easier to just let it go down on your surface and then pick it up with your block. So I start with that, and then I've got Berry Burst, Lemon Lime Twist, and Shaded Spruce. That is the colors that the back of the package tells me are in this paper. So you can see on the back of the package, we still have that feature, so you know the colors there. So what I'm going to do is, I'll move this one out of the way. I can bring that back in if anyone wants to see the 2 different versions later. So I'm going to ink up the whole thing with Lemon Lime Twist. Hi Sandy, how are you? So that is the Lemon Lime Twist. Now you can kind of see the pattern on my stamp. I'm going to ink the top of it up with Berry Burst. So I'm not putting the whole stamp. I am just going about 1/3 of the way down. So I'm just tapping the edge so you can see that I haven't fully gone onto the ink pad with that. And now I have Shaded Spruce. So I am going to now rotate this, and I will do the bottom part. And I chose this pattern because it kind of matches the flow of the DSP. So I'm just going to ink up the bottom. I love polymer stamps for this. So you can see that it kind of looks like a flag or something like that. I don't know if that's quite what country those colors are similar to. I'm going to get a little bit more Shaded Spruce. I want to go a little bit higher. When I made this, I accidentally dropped it and it swiped down my shirt. So I had to re-ink it, but thankfully I was wearing navy, so it didn't really show. Now I have a dauber. You can see that there are multiple colors on this. I am going to sort of blend out the transition between the 2 colors. So I'm gonna just dab that carefully across the line between the Lemon Lime Twist and the Berry Burst. Then I'm gonna rotate. I'm also rotating the dauber, and I am going to slightly, I'm trying not to smear it. I'm just pouncing a little bit to blend it out. And then I have one more step. So I'm going to move these. I don't want this next step to splatter all over these. I have a Stampin' Mist bottle, not Stampin' Mist, sorry, Stampin' Spritzer. I don't want to spray Stampin' Mist on that. It's water in here, not Stampin' Mist. And I am going to, just got to grab a scrap sheet of paper. What I'm going to do is just spritz this carefully onto, I'm going to move all of my other cards that are behind here. I don't know how far this will spray. I should have a splatter guard handy, but I don't. So I'm actually going to grab another piece of paper to just hold behind there. There we go. So if you can see here, now I'm just using that as an extra guard. When I did this earlier, I didn't do it on my work surface, but I want you guys to see what I'm doing. All right, well, that's good, Sandy. I'll have to try the black leaf outline on the mosaic paper and see how that goes. Okay, so I'm gonna just spritz. So I've just coated that. You can kind of see that it's a little mottled looking. So I'm going to bring that closer so you can see that. And now I will stamp that onto my basic white. So there we go. I'll bring this closer so you guys can see. So now that has a similar effect to the paper. I didn't want stark lines. If you like the stark line look, you could go for that, but I didn't want the stark lines. I wanted it to look kind of blended out like the paper. So that was how I came up with achieving that effect. So if you have an alternate way, I am never offended if somebody has a more efficient way of doing something. We call it pulling a David. Many of you guys know David. He is always super clever with the more efficient methods that he comes up with of doing something. So I am not opposed to anybody pulling a David and giving me a more efficient way of doing something. So let's just make sure that it's not wet anymore. So now I can stamp the outline. You could also stamp the outline first if you wish to. That's how I did all of my other ones. I just was excited to do the technique, and that's what I started with. I wanted to know if it was going to work. So I am trying to stamp this outline. You're going to get my voice real close to you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to line this up without sticking my head right in your view. So forgive me if this is not perfectly lined up, but pretty close. So now we have the black outlined Celebrate and the multi-toned kind of watercolor or alcohol ink effect. So hopefully that teaches you guys something new today. So there we are. That is the main technique with my card. I'm now going to trim this down, and there we go. There's the little cutter. It was actually back where it was supposed to be on the shelf. Okay, so I'm going to trim this down. I love this technique. I probably shouldn't say that considering I came up with that. I don't mean to like pat myself on the back, but now I want to try it with other color schemes too. So I'm just trimming this down a little. What do you guys think? Will you give that a try? I've done something similar on background stamps, but never, I don't think ever, with just a little greeting. I will take just, you know what? Let's see. If I leave this one a little wider, I think it's okay. So I'm not going to trim that down anymore, top to bottom. I'm going to leave that as is, but I will take a hair off the sides. I don't want it too long because these little black accents could go too far past the edge of the card, and I don't want that. I would still want this to fit in an envelope. If you'd like to, please feel free to share this. I think I'm going to make an extra one of this card. So same as yesterday, if you'd like to share this video and then come back and comment that you did. Oh my gosh, Monica, use that little trimmer. And if you ever want to get rid of it, please let me know. One of my sons broke mine. So the little clip that holds the cutter in, I don't know if you, hey Nemi, are you home already? Or are you on a layover? One of my sons broke the pin in there, and so I actually, if it goes all the way up, I have to carefully pull the blade out to release it. It's my favorite cutter, but I have to be super careful in order to use it. So anyone's getting rid of one of those, please let me know. Okay, so I have trimmed this one down. I'm going to just, yeah, that will be measure up to there. Yours is not a Stampin' Up! One. Oh, you're still in Hawaii. Well, I hope you're soaking up the last minutes of sunshine there, and I hope that the rain and snow stops before you get home. You don't want to hear that. Okay, now I'm going to bring this a little closer. I've actually outlined the edge a little bit with Memento ink just to give it a little bit more definition. So on the long sides, I'm just dragging that a little bit, just being careful to not get that on my fingers so that I don't put that on my greeting. And then the ends, I'm just tapping them a little bit. So I've got just a slight little outline. I will bring that closer and show you guys. Thanks, Ramona. Last few hours. There we go. So that's outlined a little bit. Now, this of course is not long enough. So I'm going to snip this and then glue the ends behind the Celebrate. So I just snip enough that I have a little piece there to glue that down. I hope you have no troubles with your flights on the way home. That's never fun when it's already a bit of a burn to come home, though I'm sure you guys are all just so thankful you got to go on that trip together. I think that's awesome. Okay, so there's one. Whoops. Throwing these little pieces. Thanks, Brenda. How are you doing? Okay, and I just put a tiny little bit of Tombow. I can't remember who it was that came up with this. Probably lots of people. The ... not a lot. Don't jinx you. Yes, that's right. Break a leg with your flying. There we go. So we've got the greeting ready to go. Now, like Butterfingers here. I will, actually, I'm not going to use the Tombow. I don't know if Melody is here watching, but she'll probably catch the replay. And I know that she's brand new to stamping and wants some teaching with the Stampin' Seal. So I'm going to show you guys how to use Stampin' Seal today. I almost forgot that I had that handy so that I could show you. So obviously I need to flip this over. I find that if I just go straight down and then drag and kind of press and lift, that it will have a nice clean break. So I'm going to do that again. So just drag and then press and lift. Same thing, press and lift. And then that way, I find that I get a nice, it doesn't, that's where that missing piece of tear and tape went. That way it doesn't fall off the track and it has a nice release from the paper. So that's how I use that one. If you guys have any tips for the seal rollers, feel free to share. So now I'm trying to hold the bottom part up and not have it grab while I'm lining up the top. See, that's the one disadvantage to Tombow, is with Tombow you've got a little bit of wiggle room because it's a wet glue, whereas with a glue like that, once it grabs, it kind of grabs. I can see here too, I have a little bit of difference, so I want to trim that off. I like to trim these as I go, and then that way, if I have edges to clean up, once it's all together, it has less layers to go through. So I've trimmed that up just a little bit. Now I can attach that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to attach these first. So I am going to go with the raised side or embossed side up. And whoops, we are going to, I'm getting near to the end of this bottle of Tombow. Is that not satisfying when you finish off a bottle? I finished one last week, but I had multiples on the go. So I will have finished a couple of bottles within a week. There we go. So if you weren't here when I was talking about the reasoning for just having a little strip here, I don't want having a full piece of this to prevent this top here from sitting nicely along the fold. I want that to sit really nice and close to the fold there. And because of that, I am actually going to, I want to just make sure that this is not going to be too long. It's good. I'm going to actually use tear and tape for attaching this because I want it to sit nice and tight to the top. Sorry, it takes a little bit longer to get the adhesive applied, but worth the results. There we go. So what is everybody doing this weekend? I cannot believe it's Friday again already. It's like almost May. I don't know where time goes. Nemi, I'm sure you're feeling the same. How did that week in Hawaii just fly by, right? I hope you guys had the best time. It looks like it. What a way to spend your birthday. I think that's great. Okay, so now again, I want to try not to get my head in your view. I am trying my best to line that up right along the top. There we go. So that is the front there. Now I have my glue dots, and I'm going to use a piercer on the back of this guy here. That's going to go like that. I'm going to just flip this over. You could use adhesive paper if you want to. I like having a little bit of flow to the elements like that, so I prefer not to put a whole sheet of adhesive behind there. So I'm just putting some glue dots strategically behind these thicker areas of the die cut. So I will go right here, and then that way it'll let them flow a little bit, if that makes sense. And then another one here. So that's it. Just about 6 or so glue dots. And then I will just angle this. Just had to take a peek at my card. I thought about angling it this way, but I actually didn't love it going over the edge. But if that's what you prefer, you could always do that. Okay, so now I just want to press a little bit where, you know what, I can just gently lift that and angle in just a little bit more. So now I want to just press all of those little parts where the glue dots were. And once I get this on, that's going to help that stick down a little bit better too. All right, so I have my greeting. I actually need to stamp one more thing. I forgot about that, so my apologies. I need to stamp the "You Did It." Excuse my dragging of the drawer of scraps. I've got a scrap of black. This is not any particular size, just a scrap that's big enough for your greeting. So I have the "You Did It." I'm going to bring this back in a second. You've got these different scripty greetings and then the printed greetings there too. So I went with "You Did It." I also want to use my embossing buddy. It's in the embossing tray right beside me, you know, and there we go. Okay. I always try to use my embossing buddy, and don't be too conservative with it. I find even if there's a little bit of powder left there, that's fine. I find that does a better job with the Take to the, not Take to the Sky. Is it Take to the Sky Suite? Why can I never remember the name? This one here, I stamped embossing powder on this silver foil and then heat set with black powder. If you've ever used black embossing powder, you know that stuff is super staticky. So I actually just like really pounced on that silver foil to get this black embossing nice and crisp. So don't be afraid of having extra powder sitting there when you are going to apply the ink and then the powder. I find it does a better job if I don't wipe that off first. There we go. Now I will bring back in one of my scrap sheets. Sometimes I use a tray, sometimes I don't. But you can see there that it does a nice job of not having a ton of static cling with that powder. And it looks like it's time to strain the little scraps out of my embossing powder. Sometimes I have to do that. How about you guys? I use a really fine mesh strainer, and it's amazing what it will strain out of there. Okay, so now we can heat set this. And then my apologies, you're gonna have to tough it out with me while I fussy cut that "You Did It." When I record a video, it's always nice to be able to fast forward through this part and then it's much shortened in the replay. There is something satisfying though about watching something go from powdery to glossy. There we go. Okay, so while I fussy cut, tell me what you're doing this weekend and what you're most excited about in the new catalog. I would love to know. And tell me, are you a fan of this DSP? Not just this pattern, but this package. While you are fussy cutting, I find it easiest if you keep your dominant hand that you're cutting with mostly still, and then use your other hand to do the rotating. Because this is such a fine job of fussy cutting, I am turning my cutting hand a little bit, but my other hand is doing most of the work. It's almost counterintuitive to me that my non-dominant hand can actually rotate that paper. Me too, Ramona. The back sides are my favorite. I don't love the other side, but I'm gonna have to try something with them, I think. Either that or just conserve the side I love most and go with it. I have to trim this off because now that's gonna get in my way. I just love this. And I don't think that Celebrate You Did It has to be for anything really monumental. It might even be somebody made it through the day. They got through a tough time. It doesn't have to be like you graduated or you know, anything big, ran a marathon. It can be, or it could be for a marathon, but Nemi, celebrate, you did it. You made it to, I won't say your age. I don't know I'm sure you're not particular about it because you've been sharing about it, but I think it's awesome. I think age is something to celebrate. There we go. And then I can just clean up a little, if there's any parts that aren't quite what I want, I can just clean them up a little. So there's just one there. There we go. And one more. These two are gonna sit on top of the Celebrate, so I want them a little cleaner. The other parts will overlap black, so it's not such a big deal. Sorry you guys had to tough that out while I was doing some piddly work. So I'm going to prep that now with a very skinny piece of the border of some black dimensionals. So I'm just going to get that ready. It fits right along the middle there. I could have gone a little bit longer, so I'm going to add another little piece. Never throw away those borders. They're super useful. I use them for lots of things. Oopsie. And I'm just butting that up to there. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to snip just a tad off. There we go. So now that's ready to go. No comments just yet on what you guys are up to this weekend. Okay, now I also need to prep this. I put this little bow of white twine on there. So I am going to, I have some old twine still, so just please excuse that. I'm going to grab my Tear and Tape, and I'm putting a little piece on the back side on this end. So I'm gonna leave enough room that I can put a little piece of dimensional there. And I've got just that little piece there. I'm pulling the back off, and I want this to go on an angle. It's kind of angled like that. Make sure you guys can see that. Okay, now I'm gonna flip this over, and I want this one angled that way. And then I want this tail in between this loop here. Bring that closer so you can see what I'm talking about in just a minute. I might have to, I need to back this off and leave just a little bit of room there. I need to roll that over just a tad. Okay, now I want this tail in between there, and then I'm going to tuck this tail in between the ends of this bow so that it looks like both of these tails fall through the middle of the bow or the middle of the loop and the middle of the loop. So I just try to be a little cautious with where I place things on the tape before I finish this and cut it. I'm just gonna flip that over, make sure it's somewhat even. I could cinch this one back just a tad. No, yeah, I will. I'll cinch it back just a little bit. So I'm just gonna pull this tail towards me just a little bit. There we go. Now I need to cut this off the roll. Oh, sorry, I just have to grab some ribbon scissors. I was telling you guys last night I need to get all my ribbon scissors sharpened. I tried to do it at home, but I did not do a good job. So I think I'll let the professionals do it. Okay, now I'm taking a piece of tear and tape and I am going to tape over this. There we go. So now that will hold that in place. And, oh, you know what I did? I was not mindful of my tail placement when I did that. So I just need to scoot this little bow piece over. And then hopefully this will work. There we go. There we are. So now that keeps everything in place when I'm ready to put that down. Now I can get that ready with dimensionals because that is raised. So I'm going to put some on either side of that tape. Hey Rhonda, I'm excited to see you soon. How are you doing? Are you all done your swap? I'm not. I actually still need to decide what I'm making. Maybe I should make these, though I would not have enough to make them the same. Okay, so I put just a little piece on that side of the tape and I've got this all ready to go. I am going to put the greeting on first, or the main greeting on first. Crazy busy just starting to design. Well, I'm glad I'm not alone in that. All right, so I've got all those backings peeled off. And now I'm going to just line this up. Whoopsie, see, I was gonna say don't let the middle grab, and that's exactly what I did. So do as I say, not as I do. You can see I bent it right there. You guys probably saw it coming and you were saying, no, 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 don't do that. Right, you had my back. Okay, so that is now attached with dimensionals. Then I can tuck this little "you did it." So Rhonda, it'll be a celebrate you did it with swaps by the time we get them done, right? And I'm kind of positioning the T in between these two, the D's there, okay? So backing is peeled. I've got celebrate you did it. Now I'm going to just finish this off with some of the gems from the new catalog. Now watch, I left those in the other room. 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. It is worth waiting for them. I love these ones. These are the adhesive backed pearl trio. They're in the new catalog, and I love this color with this card. I'll bring this closer so you can see. I thought those went really pretty with this. So I am using those. Now, of course, I don't have my piercer handy, so I'm going to just use my scissors and place these. So I just tucked one in here and one in here and one, whoops, that one went upside down, one right in here. These ones are not odd sizes or different sizes. So I just spread them out instead of putting two together. So I still went with my triangular pattern and an odd number with these ones. So I don't know what these other colors are. I didn't look it up, but these are really pretty as well. Does anyone have these yet? I believe these were on pre-order. I think that's how I got those ones. We've had a variety of way to get pre-order product already. So it's a little bit hard to keep straight whether it was an artisan box thing, on stage thing, or pre-order. So they're beautiful. If you don't have access to them yet, watch for them in the new catalog. They're gorgeous. So this is my something new version of this card. And whoopsie, dropping things. This is my something old version of this card. So I will post these together on my page. And if you would like to play along with a creative challenge, this is Friday. So with the sharing draw, I will do that draw on Sunday. But to do the creative challenge, if you want to incorporate this layout or this technique that I did here, I will give you until next Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I will do a draw and then I will mail out a card to whoever wins the creative challenge. So hopefully you guys will play along. I hope you are inspired to try these out. And whether that's with, you don't have to use this exact product, whether that's with this product or something else, please do feel free to try that. And I hope it inspired you guys. So I wanted to show you guys yesterday, I didn't have the rest of my Encircled in Nature samples handy when I was showing you guys this card here. So I will just bring those back in to show you. So this one here, I'm going to just move these for a moment. I can bring them back if anyone has questions. If you have questions, let me know. This was my artisan project for, oh gosh, April, I believe, was when these posted. So I had created this card first, and then I wanted to use this technique I did here, inspired by Michaela Tethridge. I don't know if I pronounced her last name properly, but I had used this for my first project, and then I wanted to incorporate it into a scrapbook page of our time up in the mountains in Loen, Norway. Don't love my handwriting there, but that's okay. I went with it anyway. It was the last thing I did on the page, so I decided it was staying. And I also used one of the greeting stamps on the little tag and then stamped some trees here. But don't be afraid to use your greeting stamps in your scrapbooking. And I had a lot of fun with those. I'm going to have to make more of this one. I thought I'd also show you, you know, with scrapbooking, there's often those really thick stickers. I wanted that effect. I didn't want to have to dimensional these trees because they're very fine. So I actually cut 5 layers and glued them together. And then I did the same with the letters here. Hopefully you can see that. They're nice and thick. I glued 5 layers together. So you could either attach them to the adhesive sheets before you die cut, or you could just glue them together. I just glued them together. And then I incorporated them on the other side there as well. This is just 1 layer on dimensionals on the card, but for my page, you know, sometimes when you put things on a dimensional and then you put it in the page protector, it squashes in between the dimensionals. I didn't want that, so I have just glued 5 layers together. So that is these ones. And then with Stamp Club, we did a different variation of this card. This is the paper that is from Delightfully Eclectic. That's half price, so don't miss out on that if you love that paper. So we used this one, and then I made them this card that also uses Delightfully Eclectic. There we go. So I stamped on the inside. This was the card I gave them as a gift. And then we also made this card here. So we made these 2 together, and I made this one for them. If you're in Canada, I can't although tutorials may be an option for people outside of Canada, but if you're in Canada and you're interested in Stamp Club, you are welcome to join us. We're deciding right now what we're going to use for May so that I can order it as soon as the catalog opens. But those are those samples. And then I also have this one that is the one that I made last night. So these are a variety of Encircled in Nature cards. I have seen other people do a whole other set of colors, so don't feel limited to these colors. That's just what I've ran with so far, but there's a lot of different options. Okay, so move those out of the way. And again, if you are wanting to get in on my retirement party, which is again, not me retiring, but the catalog retiring, you are welcome to either contact me. I'll be placing an order very shortly after I get off this live, and I can either add to that, or if you want to shop online, I will probably post a brand new host code. I may be closing this one down right away, but I will post on my page if you need to use a new one besides this one. But with a $65 purchase, you're going to receive a free gift. And with a $100 purchase, I will send you the free gift and the supplies to do a free class with me. So that is what that detail is. And then I'll be posting the information for In Color Club as well. And if you are in the area or across Canada, we will be doing our online retirement sale starting on May 10th. So if you want to be a vendor in that, now is the time to start sorting and pricing and photographing your things. We will release all of the albums on Facebook on May 10th. The sale will run that weekend, and then sort weekend for us is the long weekend. So we will be really busy over the next month and a half working on that. But let me know if you are interested in either shopping or being a vendor. We can only ship across Canada. We cannot ship across international borders. So there's that detail, but just message me if you would like information. And I'll be posting an advertisement about that as well. So stay tuned. There will be lots of little offerings that I'll share on my page for you guys. I will come back later today to tell you what time I will go live tomorrow, but I will come back again tomorrow with something old, something new for you guys. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and a good weekend if you can't tune in over Saturday and Sunday, but I will see you guys again soon. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.